Howdy. My name's Derek. I'm going to talk about the jaws of life. What are the jaws of life? These are hydraulic hand tools for extricating people from wrecked cars. So cutting metal. I used to be a volunteer firefighter in Alaska and also Virginia. And that's actually me in the center there. And if you look closely, you'll see a pretty awesome porn stash, which is required equipment for firefighters in the state of Virginia. Now, these days, firefighters don't actually fight as much fire as they used to. Most of what they do is respond to MVAs, or motor vehicle accidents. This is the town I lived in Alaska, and we drove 60 miles one way to the grocery store on two-lane highways. And on two-lane highways, you get a lot of head-on collisions and rollovers, which are the worst kind. There's one in particular I want to talk about. I think of it as the Christmas crash, even though it occurred in July. When I rolled up, there was a 2-foot wide bright green river of antifreeze and a 2-foot wide bright red river of blood rolling down the highway, which was strangely Christmassy, only more gruesome. This wreck, like many others, was caused by a distraction, in this case a radio. So there was a Ford Explorer going this way and a Honda Accord going this way. The driver of the Explorer was futzing with the radio, crossed the double yellow, and slammed into the Accord. The driver of the Accord did everything right. Jesse, he had his seatbelt on. He was on the right side of the road. He had tried to steer out of the way, and at the last second, as he saw a couple tons of metal coming right at his face, he did what most of us would do, which is throw up his hands like this. He was killed instantly, and the roof kind of caved in around him, which left this hand dangling in front of the passenger, which was his girlfriend, so sort of like this, right in front of her face. Reminded me of the painting in the Sistine Chapel. So as rescue workers, when we get on a scene like this, the first thing we do is secure the scene, and that's kind of a code word for making sure that traffic is stopped and flares are out, and if there's a fuel spill, you've covered it up and soaked it up. You might get a fire hose ready. The next thing we would do is check the victims, and I got assigned to Jesse's passenger, his girlfriend, the one with the hand in her face, and I held C-spine on her for a couple hours while we worked on her. One of the things I learned is there's a lot of things you do when you assess a victim, but it's really important to just calm them down, introduce yourself, say, hey, I'm going to take care of you, we're going to get you out of here. It goes a long way. The next thing we would do when we knew we had to cut somebody out, and she was pretty banged up, so we knew we had to cut her out, is stabilize the vehicle. They got fancy tools for this these days, but we would normally just use lumber or sometimes even rocks to keep the car from jiggling from side to side while you're cutting on it. The next thing we would do is remove the glass. In a bad wreck, usually the window glass is gone, but the windshields are a little tougher to deal with, so we would take our axe and cut around the top edges, and then you can kind of fold the whole thing out onto the hood. And then we would go to work with the jaws. So the spreaders are just that. Here's a guy using them. Put it right in the door, which usually get jammed in a head-on because there's a lot of buckling, and you literally just try to pry it open with the hydraulic pressure. Got to stay out of the zone because sometimes it pops open in a hurry and can actually hit you in the nuts. If you got to get in with a backboard or get more rescuers in there, you take off the roof, and to do this, you use the shears. That's sort of the other side of the jaws. You cut the A-posts, which are the two metal pieces on either side of the windshield, and then you put a little snip on either side of the roof about halfway back, and the whole thing comes up like a can of sardines, and you want to tie it off so it doesn't flop back forward. And then, in this case, we got her out on a backboard, and she went by helicopter to Anchorage. I don't actually know if she made it or not, but I hope she did. Most of you are never going to cut anybody out of a car, and if you do, hopefully you'll have some training. According to the NTSB, 93% of these wrecks are avoidable, and that's kind of what I want to talk about most. In my experience, there are a couple things that lead to people getting really hurt on the roads. I was told my whole life that speed kills, and in my experience that's not true. Distractions kill. So Jesse was killed by a radio. This was before texting and iPhones, but most of the wrecks I saw where people got very badly hurt were because of distractions. Bad habits also kill. If you're in the habit of sort of cutting across the lines a little bit, getting lazy, not checking your blind spot, not using your blinkers, I've seen a lot of people hurt from that. And then you have to assume that every other car out there on the road is trying to kill you. Have an exit plan, know where you're going to go. This is a truck that ran a red light about 2 seconds after mine turned green. If I had just gone because my light was green, I'd be dead. I took this picture so I could call that 800 number and bust him. The last thing I want to leave you with is it's not all about you. You might be driving down the highway and blabbering on your iPhone, And you might just crash into a bridge abutment and kill yourself, but there's a really good chance that you'll hurt or kill other people. So do it for Jesse. Pay attention out there. Be safe. And thank you.